And it's easy for me to say. I mean, 700 million, and I know Scott Boras wants to get the biggest dollar. But sometimes, if you're happy, you can live with 600 million or 500 million or whatever the hell it is.
The legendary broadcaster Dave Sims joining us on FT right now, and I'm so excited for this and appreciate the time because I know you're busy as hell right now. The news just came out. Congratulations to the new
Yeah,
Yankees
man.
radio
Hey, guys, good
broadcast.
to see you. I just got to get my lights right. There we go.
No,
Hey,
you're
good to see you
good.
guys. Thanks for your invitation. Yeah, this is I mean, this is a big moment in my life. Come on, man. And, A coming home, and it's the New York Yankees. Come on, jeez. And again, much love, much respect for everybody, and so many friends in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest. And but this was one of his once in a lifetime opportunities, and it happened. And here we are, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Do you remember all the conversations you and I had, when I played and then now, working with the Yankees? There was always that at the end, you're like, man, I love coming back home. I miss it. New York, I get to eat my food that I love. I get to see family, friends. And now look at you now. I'm going to drop one. I'm going to say, hey, now, let's go, baby.
Yeah. Hey, I hope that when that Yankee 2025 team gets put together, there will be many occasions for some hey nows and some giddy ups and gone and ring the bell and all that kind of stuff. I'm very excited. Booney and I hit it off a few years ago. It was interesting when I found out, and it sort of struck me. He grew up in Philly, so he's an Eagles fan like I am. So I remember there's a bunch of times recently where I'd come in and I'd start talking about our two ball clubs, and then the conversation would move right in. What the hell's wrong with the Eagles? What are they doing? Hey, what's going? That whole thing. So it's been a lot of fun.
So, do you feel like Didi Gregorius here? Do you feel like you're taking over for Derek Jeter in the radio booth?
Hey, man, I basically, when I got to Seattle, Dave Niehaus was in the last innings of his career, and I worked with. I did some games with him, probably more spring training games than on radio. And the way that it was set up, he would do once the regular season started. He would do the first 3 innings. I would be with Rick Riz on the radio side for those 3 innings. And in the 4th inning, we'd switch. And so basically, I was brought in to more or less replace Dave Niehaus, legend, Hall of Famer, great guy. And now I get to follow another legend in John Sterling. And you know what? I'm just, as the song goes, I'm going to be me. I have my way of doing things, and I really like John, and I go way back with him when he was a New York, New Jersey Nets basketball play-by-play announcer, and I was covering the team when I was at the New York Daily News, and I was telling the story earlier that I'm in midcourt with the other beat writers, writing our stories, and you'd hear John. I would look to my left, and John would be standing up, and he always went with the whole cupping the ear, and he'd speak into his mic, and he was sitting next to Kevin Lockery, who was the coach, and Kevin would say, "Hey, let's run an LA 23 for soup." And in the middle, ball bringing up, they're bringing up the ball, bringing the ball up the court. They're going to run an LA 23 for soup, and LA 23 for soup. Fans at home had no idea what the hell he was talking about, but it just tickled me that he would bring that kind of immediacy and that intimacy, to the broadcast. That was the radio broadcast. So, yeah, he's a beauty. He's an absolute beauty.
And somehow we're actually going to bring him on the show on Monday. So we'll get his message to you, passing the baton, because we're actually sending a producer there. I mean, he can't even get a text message. So we're going to bring him to the podcast, digital world, TV world, and get him on. So we'll talk to Sterling. But my next one, yeah, it'll be fun. What my next one for you, Dave, is Dave Sims and Susan Waldman. That is pure entertainment bliss. Obviously, just like John and Susan, but now getting you and Susan together on a radio broadcast, I'm very excited for, of course, the game calling, but the commentary component. So how well do you know her? And can you just give us some type of preview of what to expect?
Oh, we go back, like 1988, something like that. And we used to get after it when I was doing a midday show at WFAN with Ed Coleman. And it was great because, she would say something about the Knicks, and we'd have a little bit of a disagreement, and we go back and forth, and then you forget about it. Yeah, she's great, and she's a pioneer. I mean, she's Hall of Fame quality. I when I see female reporters in sports and anchor people, and once I get to know them, invariably at some point in the conversation, I said, if you haven't already done so, you need to kiss the ring or certainly pick up the phone and call Susan Waldman for the path that she has blazed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been fantastic. And she went through, when you listen to her stories, there were a lot of guys who were real a-holes to her. And there was a lot of guys who were absolute gems. Dave Stewart, Jesse Barfield, Don Mattingly, I think, Dave Winfield. She could tell you the whole story. But, I have enormous respect for Susan and affection, even going into this gig. And I respect what she has done, in her career transitioning from a Broadway performer. And hey, let's be honest. Let's be totally honest. You gotta love this. You got a Jewish woman from New England and a black guy from New York going to be calling baseball games in New York City. Hey now.
Hey now.
That's cool.
She told us those stories. She told us the stories about how Jesse Barfield, essentially saved her from another player in the locker room that was giving her a hard time. She told it on FT. So she's been a repeat offender out here on FT. You have been a New York fan. It kind of kills me the fact that you are a Philly guy and you're allowed to still. But you kind of represent New York. Have you thought about it for a long time? Your calls, are they going to be different in New York, or is it just you coming to New York, bringing what you already do?
Dude, I'm just bringing me to New York. I'm not changing anything. And people know me from my days at FAN. You got to remember, I was a sports writer here in New York at the Daily News for 7 years. I was at Satellite News Channel. Then I come back to New York, and I was at WNBC Radio from 86 to 88, 89 to 93 on WFAN middays with Ed Coleman. And then when I was doing the NFL in Westwood One, I was on Sunday afternoons and Sunday nights at games carried by FAN. So I'm no stranger to New York by any stretch. In fact, I've lived here longer in New York City than I have in Philly. I grew up in Philly, proud of those roots, still an Eagles fan. But, I'm probably a greater part of me is a New York guy for sure.
Yeah, definitely understand. Now, I want to get into a little baseball
Yes,
question, player-wise. You're in a meeting with Juan Soto right now. I want you to tell me how you're going to pitch this guy to stay with the Yankees and explain to him, listen, it's time you become a Yankee for life.
Hey, man, you need to become a Yankee for life. We're talking about one of the great brands in the world, not just sports. One of the great historic franchises in the world of sports, worldwide. And I remember when Robinson Cano, we were thankful as heck that he left the Yankees to come to Seattle. And I was thinking, dude, you'd already have a statue in Monument Park by now. And Soto, and being Hispanic, and being on the East Coast, and being relatively close to his home down in the islands, in Miami or whatever, and the fabulous population of Hispanic folks that we have here in the New York metropolitan area, he is adored by those people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy for me to say, I mean, 700 million, and I know Scott Boras wants to get the biggest dollar, but sometimes, if you're happy, you can live with 600 million or 500 million or whatever the hell it is. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to have the absolute most money. If you're happy, you got Judgy hitting behind you. They're going to do whatever they can to reinforce the rest of the lineup. It's the New York Yankees, dude. Come on now.
I think they should bring them, Todd Father. I think they might
Yeah,
want to bring the radio voice for the dinner. I know Dave would take the dinner. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be top shelf. So yeah, he's available. Just throwing that out there.
I mean, when I've been following baseball all my life, and 41 pennants, 27 World Series. Hello, anybody home? Loaded with Hall of Famers, Hall of Fame broadcasters, biggest city in America. In Philly, I always say about my place of birth, Philadelphia, they love you hard and hate you hard. Well, it's not too dissimilar. Very similar here in New York. But I mean, it's like Frank Sinatra. Singing if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And if you're already here, duh, plant some roots, man.
Well said. Okay, so I want to go back for a moment, Dave. You know this, and that was my first reaction actually yesterday before the news was official. There was like the reports coming out, whatever, which is fun. Hey, it looks like Dave Sims is going to be the new Yankees radio broadcaster. And I wrote how, for me, I am a night owl and I watch late night games, right? And for me, when I know Dave is on the call, I'm locked into the Mariners game, and I will give that favor over some other games. Obviously, it was fun to watch their pitching staff this year. But what are your feelings about your time in Seattle, people that have reached out, and then even the layer of what you experienced with the team? Because you're going to the Yankees. You just made your pitch to Juan Soto. You were the voice of a franchise that, especially right now, has so much talent, but has so much not negative history, but you can put it into words better than I can. I mean, damn, that city deserves more playoff status.
Well, man, I'm telling you, it's a very good sports town. It's got maybe the hungriest fan base there is. I mean, so many other, here in New York, you expect it, playoffs, World Series, yada yada yada. But that'd be a first time thing in Seattle. And I always harken back to the division series against Houston a few years ago. The game 3 goes 18 innings. Those fans, and I don't care what the numbers say. Say capacity was 45 and change. Heck, there was like 52, 53,000 people in that ballpark, and they stood for the last 9 innings and cheered their lungs out, cheered their hearts out. It's a terrific fan base, dying for a winner. So many good people, in the organization, of people, and then friends I've made around the area. In Seattle, it's just been stuff I'll never forget. So, I wish them well, and I tell you, it still hacks me off that with that starting rotation that was so good, and all those cats, with the exception of Brian Wu, but he was outstanding for the most part, made all their starts, and we missed the playoffs by a freaking game. And I can't tell you, the last 8-9 weeks, every coach that I know, in opposing teams and players and managers, dude, we do not want to place you effing guys in the playoffs. Not with that pitching staff. And then to finish a game, it was one of the worst hitting teams ever, but one of the best pitching teams ever. So, yeah, it's a shame it didn't work out, man. But a lot of good dudes on that team. A lot of them are going to be back this year, this coming year, and wish them well, except when they play most Yankees.
Looking for recipes to bring the autumn feels? Hello, have you tried HelloFresh yet? America's #1 meal kit gives you over 50 recipes to choose from each week. They pre-portion the ingredients and then they ship them right to your doorstep.
Picky eaters like Scott or people looking to fit a specific lifestyle have met their match. HelloFresh features preferences like fit and wholesome, quick and easy, or vegetarian.
HelloFresh helps me eat healthier and maintain my presence as a popular chef at home with my kids. I'm bringing variety to the dinner table.
Just stop with the endless recipe searching, or you're spending a whole bunch of money on a big jar of spices just for a pinch. That's all you need. You can also get step-by-step recipe cards, making cooking simpler by using HelloFresh.
Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/freeFT. Applied across 7 boxes, new subscribers only, varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals just by going to HelloFresh.com/freeFT.
So there's rivalry between players. There's rivalry between Todd and I. I think there's a little bit of a rivalry now in New York in the radio booth. Howie Rose put out a little tweet here. He says, Great news. 2 fronts from Howie Rose. First, I'm thrilled for a longtime friend, Dave. And equally important that I remain the youngest lead radio baseball broadcaster in New York.
That is very funny. I know I owe Howie a call. Yeah, I got him by like 370 days or something like this. Yeah.
What do you have to say to him?
What's that? What do I say? Hey man, we'll have some laughs. It'll be fun. I don't really get tied up in that kind of stuff. I mean, I look forward to seeing Howie, and get to see Gary Cohn and Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling on the TV side, young Mr. Pat McCarthy on the radio side, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes. When I was doing talk radio, you'd always hear from obviously Yankee fans and Met fans, and they'd be sniping at each other and everything. Yeah, I'm not into that. Hey man, I've been through enough wars. I don't have to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got two personal ones. First of all, you went to Chestnut Hill Academy, right?
Yes, sir. The Interact League in Philadelphia.
So I played, obviously not at the same time as you, but we played in the Interact for the Carpenter Cup that would play down in the Vet, and
Yeah.
I worked at Chestnut Hill Farmers Market. I don't know if you ever went into Chestnut Hill Farmers Market.
Oh my, what a small world.
Yep.
It's very cool. And in the Interact, Tyler Kepner, the great baseball writer for the Athletic, he went to Germantown Academy.
Yep.
Bradley Cooper, the actor, went to Germantown Academy in the Interact. My man, Mark Gubazad, Angels TV color, he went to Penn Charter. He was 10 years after me. I told him, I said, Goobs, I'm glad I didn't have to face you, man. It was a hell of a career. I don't know if I was hitting that breaking ball of his, let alone the fastball. I played. I was the first black athlete at that school, and one of very few in the Interact back in. You're talking late '60s, late '60s. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So that's a small connection. It's close. It's near my house. I live north of there in Lansdale, Telford, Souderton area. Yeah.
We're up 309 in Souderton, where Jamie Moyer's from.
Jamie Moyer's from. Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And Kevin Nagandi from ESPN is, I want to say, Coatesville.
I'm not sure. I know he's from the area. Yeah, he's a Philly guy.
He's a bigger Psycho Eagle fan than I am.
Yeah, go Birds. It's been going well so far this year.
And we were walking here in New York last week. My wife and I, we did some errands and just went for a walk. I'm coming down Park Avenue near the Armory up in the 60s, and this really striking, blonde, patrician-looking woman, probably in her 50s. And I got my hoodie on. I got the Eagles logo right here. I got a jacket on top. And she walks by, and she doesn't even move her head. She just goes, "Go Birds." And I was like, all right, yeah, okay, cool.
You still got it. All right, last one from me. When we announced on our Twitter account, FT's Twitter account, that Dave Sims was coming to be on the radio, I responded, and we rarely put our own tweets up, but here's my tweet. I want Dave Sims to commentate my Peloton rides. I would be PRing for days. Just hearing you announce like an amazing play, like JP comes across the place. Hey now, like it gives me chills. So if you have a little side job, when I get on the Peloton bike, I need to call you and you need to pump me up.
Absolutely. We pump each other up because things have been going so nuts here that I've only been on, and I love the Peloton. It's keeping me in shape. I've only hit it once in the last 2 weeks, so obviously I got a lot of time to make up. Yeah, things have been crazy. But no, I would definitely do that. I mean, I dig that, man. And the Peloton, some of the instructors, if I'm in the mood, I don't mind having somebody barking at me. A lot of times I just want to get on a ride, just ride for an hour and just ride it. But other times in my competitive juices, some of those guys get you going, and the women, they get you going too. And, hey, come on, let's go, pick it up. Hey, that whole thing. So no, we're speaking the same language.
Yeah, Kratz is a monster. I've seen him pre-show. Get after it. All right, so last one from all of us here, Dave. So Sterling liked to reference show tunes and Broadway plays and stuff like that. It was part of his personality, right? For Yankee fans that don't know you, that aren't watching Mariners games late at night or listening to Mariners games late at night, what can you tell them about your style and what you like to do?
Well, I'll throw in some pop culture references. Some of them might be old, and some of it, hey, kids, Google it. I was thinking this morning, we were going down to WFAN to do some things, and the song, and I think it's from Gypsy. If my friends could see me now, and Susan's going to kill me for not knowing it, but I know that's from the late 50s, early 60s. So anyway, I can hang with her a little bit on Broadway stuff. I love like my sons. Oh my God. Any kind of Godfather reference, leave the gun, take the cannoli, anything from Goodfellas. And music references, whether it be hard rock, Motown, jazz. I mean, I love that kind of stuff. And so if it fits, I don't force it, but if it fits, I go with it. The other thing too, I feel like part of my broadcast life was raised by Marty Glickman back in 86 to 88 when we were both at the MSG Network and NBC Sports. And in terms of working radio, and Marty always said, "Hey, I want you as you're the eyes and ears, calling radio play-by-play." And I did try to do this the best I could in football, and I think I succeeded. And I want to know what it looks like, smells like, what's the air taste like, which way's the wind blowing, who's showing really bad body language, in addition to describing what is and accurately describing what's in play as it plays, and just there's times we got to let it breathe. You can't go wall to wall sound, but I just think that those are some tenets I live by, and I think having experienced Marty and Marv Albert's one of my heroes, and so many guys of that generation were Marty guys as well here in New York. So I take a lot of that into what I do, and I'll miss doing TV, but in doing baseball and radio, I think a lot of guys will agree, particularly guys broadcast, but I think even consumers will say the purest form of taking in a baseball game, of experiencing a baseball game, if you're not there. So this is going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's an art. Baseball on radio is really an art, and there's so much creativity to it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, Dave, obviously can't thank you enough for joining us right after this, and congrats again. You've always supported what we're doing here, and we are super pumped to have you in the New York area. Yankee fans are loving hearing this. They're already chatting back to us. So congratulations. Enjoy the whirlwind, and then we're excited to see you at Yankee Stadium, all right?
Hey, much love, much respect, fellas. Be well. Take care.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.